Former world title holders Julio Diaz and Kendall Holt are headlining Friday night fights. Both men recognize this as a pressure-packed showdown. Both men know that their career future is on the line. Holt has been in with the best. He's pulled off thrill 'em, rock 'em, sock 'em wins. Diaz is in the midst of a bounce back, having won 2 fights in a row. Once belt holders, now hungry hopefuls from Chumash Casino in Santa Ynez, California, right now. Friday Night Fights presented by Corona Extra. The Chumash Casino Resort tucked into the picturesque mountainside here in Santa Ynez, California. Wine country area made famous in the hit movie Sideways. Tonight in our main event, 2 former titleists whose careers turned sideways, trying to straighten things out with a big win. Kendall Holt confident, Julio Diaz, he feels strong and ready. Good evening, everybody. I'm Joe Tessitore, and I welcome you to Friday Night Fights. Kendall Holt, Julio Diaz, 2 fighters who we've seen before, 2 fighters who have been up, down, and all around in their career, and fittingly, they meet up here tonight with the winner clearly back in the mix and in position to regain prime position that they once held. Let's look at the accolades for both men throughout their careers. Holt won the WBO's 140-pound title back in 2008. He then came up short in trying to topple division kingpin Timothy Bradley in 2009. For Julio Diaz, his world titles came in 2004 and 2007. That's when the IBF lightweight title was strapped around his waist. Let's bring in my partner, Teddy Atlas. Julio Diaz, Teddy, he's 2 years older. Perhaps he's just a little further removed from the absolute prime of his career. What do you expect out of him against Kendall Holt tonight?
Well, the first thing I'll tell you, Joe, is I was thinking it is Friday the 13th.
It is, that's right.
Let's not forget that. And I was thinking that it will not be good luck if Mr. Diaz doesn't get knocked out early or hurt early. It will be simply good boxing. He doesn't need a 4-leaf clover or rabbit's foot, although he could use some rabbit's feet. He's going to have to box, especially early on, use those quick feet, get in and out, and make sure that he stays away from standing in front of the much stronger, much bigger Holt. Holt can take him out, but those first 4 rounds are going to really be the danger point of the night. What Holt's going to have to do, well, he's going to have to go to the body, take those legs away a little bit, let his hands go, and land some of those stronger punches. At the end of the night, Joe, no broken mirrors, but somebody's dream to be a world champion once again will be broken.
Indeed, it will be, and we've seen some of those early fireworks with Kendall Holt through the years. ESPN Deportes, Jaime Mota is with us tonight, and now he's with Julio Diaz.
Julio, what do you know about Kendall Holt, and what do you need to do to be successful tonight?
Well, I think Kendall Holt is a very dangerous fighter tonight. I know he's coming with everything, and he's explosive at times. I think I have to be cautious and be aware of every sneaky punch he has, because he carries some power.
Over to your brother Joel and your trainer. Joel, you trained Timothy Bradley for his fight against Kendall Holt. What did you learn in that fight that you've been able to share with your brother and help him out tonight?
What we learned from Kendall Holt is just to be very careful in the first couple rounds, because he's explosive in the first rounds, the beginning of the fight. And I think after the second round, we can start finding some openings and start figuring them out a little bit.
Well, thank you very much. Good luck tonight.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jaime. 12-0 prospect Jonathan Gonzalez. There he is, ready in the tunnel. He's going to lead us off. 21-year-old Olympian from Puerto Rico. First, we head to the Friday Night Fight studio and Brian Kenny. Good evening to you, BK.
Joe, Teddy, thank you so much. Brian Kenny here in a Friday Night Fight studios. Coming off a Pacquiao weekend, Teddy and I talked to the #1 guy in the world, pound for pound, and the most exciting fighter in the world. Teddy's take on what he saw and what Pacquiao had to say after the fight. Again, coming up, Pacquiao booed in that fight. His reaction to that, and Sugar Shane Mosley almost shut out. What's next for both? Full coverage from Vegas. Kelly Pavlik back with a win, the former undisputed middleweight champion of the world, on the Pacquiao-Mosley undercard. Teddy on what he has left. And again, in the main event, it's Kendall Holt, managed by Giants running back Brandon Jacobs. Holt's rise from a tough background on the streets. Coming up high-level matchup, Kendall Holt, Julio Diaz. Screenwriter Sylvester Stallone. Back now to our main event. Joe Tessitore and Teddy Atlas. Take it away.
Thank you, Brian. And there is Kendall Holt. He's had his share of thrilling battles. Some he's conquered, others that he's come up short in, trying to once again make a run to the top. He's been a fighter his whole life, learning how to survive and how to win.
Growing up in Patterson, you have to be tough or the streets will demolish you. If you're weak, you're gonna get walked on, you're gonna get stepped on, you're gonna get crushed until you learn to fight back. Back in the day when I was growing up out here, there's a whole wall and on the other side filled with nothing but bullet holes. If you go down here in the store, and the window is bullet holes in that store window, and this store window is bullet holes, every day. Every day was a shootout. Every last one of my close friends growing up is in jail. You know, I had friends that I was cool with, but then, you know, my tight friends is in jail. And the minimum that's being served right now is 13 years.
What happened? Summing up, drugs. The depression had me, and it led me to some place where it just wasn't me.
All I know is from what I read in the newspaper back in the early 90s. And from what I know, talking to different people, it was, you know, basically a deal gone bad.
There was time I just felt hopeless, useless, because how can a mother have children then leave them, right? Whew.
We came to live with my father. He ended up teaching me and my brother how to box. Real militant guy, real disciplinarian. When we got out of hand, we didn't listen, we got our asses kicked. My brother and I, we were taken away from my father. It was because they viewed what we were going through as child abuse.
I'm never satisfied, you know, there's always something missing. I need more. I gotta have more. You know, it's never enough, it's never right. It's never good enough for me. You know, as long as I keep focused on boxing, he could stay alive.
If not for boxing, I'd probably be locked up too. Come on. I did it because my career wasn't going anywhere. I was having problems. So, I mean, I didn't see any harm in placing a phone call. You know, my best friend was benefiting. My manager was benefiting. And in the end, I didn't receive any money for it. You know, I did my manager a favor. I did my boy a favor. Boom, bam, boom. That was it. It didn't change my view of boxing. It changed my view on life, which strengthened my love for the sport. You know, it taught me if I want to get all the things I want, I got to keep going. I got to keep going. I got to go harder. I got to go faster. I got to go harder. I got to go stronger. And that's what I did. And then soon after, I was champion of the world. So you keep going, you hunting, you training, you hunting. The fight lasted a minute. They say 61 seconds, but it was a minute. Down to 60 seconds. There's no greater feeling than to have your dreams realized in front of the world. I was making hundreds and hundreds of $1,000s, and instead of using that to go forward, I just was basking in it. I was just, I was just living in the moment, not looking on the outside. But what I didn't do is I didn't keep going hard and hard. I was going and I was going, I was training, but I wasn't giving it that I wasn't going that extra mile. When you're down, you're down, and it feels just like what else do you do? There's no way I want to come back to the streets and start selling drugs. There's no way I'm going to go to jail. There's no way I want to do that. So for me to keep going and show my son that is a better way, I have to keep going. I want them to see a person who was going for his dream, stumbled, got up, brushed his shoulders off, brushed his pants off his knees, and kept on going. Finished the race. Perseverance.
The 10-year pro, ready to make his way to this critical juncture in his career as Kendall Holt will face Julio Diaz, now managed by NFL star New York Giants running back Brandon Jacobs, as we are set for our main event. Holt said he expects a certain urgency out of Diaz. Diaz ready to give everything he has, and Teddy mentioned if he puts forth the game plan he discussed earlier, then this could be a spectacular looking main event.